get going.
Beauty. Awesome.
So, thank you once again, Darin, for actually joining with us today. Uh, as I introduced before in our email, Mark and Chris and myself, we all work in the accounting side of Collins SBA rather
Mhm.
than the financial planning. So, we don't necessarily have a full understanding, I guess, of what you're doing at the moment and of your business, etc. But we are aware, obviously, that we're doing a whole heap of work at the moment, Collins SBA, together with Ensombl, and obviously Patrick Gardner is who is our head of IT, is also looking after one of your podcasts.
Correct. Yeah.
So yeah, there's obviously that big interaction between the businesses there in that sense as well. So yeah, we'll get started. If you can give us, I guess, a quick insight first off of all as to what your business does, um,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
then we'll go from there.
Yeah, beauty. So Ensombl started about 10 years ago. Originally, it was a hobby by five financial advisors who were just getting established in the industry. And the reason it started was that they were encountering problems and they thought to themselves, surely somebody's encountered this before and they've gone through this, and there's got to be a better way rather than me going in blind to fix these things to crowdsource and get answers to these solutions to these problems. So it was really just a way to lean on all the expertise that was in the industry to accelerate that 10,000 hours to mastery. Um, and it started off as a small group. It then moved into a Facebook group. Now we have our own dedicated app. So we now have 9,200 financial services professionals within the Ensombl community. And what the actual app is it is a Q&A platform where advisors can post problems that they're having, post questions that they have, and crowdsource answers, solutions, and different ways to approach things. So that it is really just a way that you are sharing what is working in your business and what you've had success with others so that they can do the same. And it all goes into why we do this and what the biggest influence on our organization is, which is the advice industry as a whole. So our North Star and our mantra is to drive the positive evolution of financial advice. So by doing this, we're helping advisors interact with their peers, get solutions to their problems that are advisor to advisor, and provide a safe space for them to have these conversations while getting the information they need. So a really good example is somebody might be looking at technology within their business, and rather than sitting down and with 10 different technology providers and spending 10 hours going through demonstrations, they would just ask, hey, I'm looking at these ones, which ones should I really look into? And they'd get feedback from advisors. If I work with XYZ, they're great at doing this. I work with these ones, they're great at doing this. And it just speeds up their decision making process and makes their lives easier.
Cool. Getting on to our next question, who or what's been the biggest influence on your journey in this organization?
Yeah, so the biggest influence is really just all of the advice community. And as I said, it links back to our North Star being drive the positive evolution of financial advice. And then different corporate partners that we partnered with along the way. But the biggest influence is just the advice community as a whole, and our super users, if you will, and really good advocates who have helped us along the way.
What are some of the most memorable moments that shaped your time at an ensemble?
So in my time, and this is going to be a bit selfish, it's probably our all licensee PD day. So we run the single largest single day PD day in Australia. So last time out, we had 1,927 people attend throughout the day. So seeing that come together is just absolutely remarkable, and seeing all the positive feedback from advisors, partners across social media, the whole nine yards. And then probably the other ones is just seeing the sheer volume and the numbers in terms of the content we're producing that helps solve advisor problems with partners. So we cracked 800,000 podcast downloads recently, of which Pat is a significant number with his tech podcast that he has, and we also have large viewership in terms of the reads that we see on articles that we publish, white papers, things like that. So most memorable moments by far would be the PD days. We run two a year, but also when I get the data from the reporting, just seeing those numbers being like, oh my God, they're insane.
Okay. Okay, Darren. So I'll just talk now about some of the challenges. Obviously, I'm assuming you started this from scratch. Is that right?
Yeah, well, it started from scratch 10 years ago. I wasn't one of the founding members. I joined just on 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so for the first 5 years, it probably was more of a hobby, and it only really became a business probably about 2018, 2019. And what we actually did was ask the advice community, is this something that you want us to pursue, yes or no? And did a crowd fund from advisors. The overwhelming response was yes, we definitely want this to be a thing. And advisors put their money where their mouth is. And we did our first raise, if you will, from advisors crowdfunding that. And then from there, that's when we really kicked in. We then brought across our chief commercial officer, and then I joined not too long after her.
Yeah. Okay. So what in your time then? What's been some of the biggest challenges you've faced in building the business?
Capacity. There's so much to do, but only so many hours in a day. Unfortunately, we are obviously in a small business startup scale up, if you will.
Yep.
So we have 5 people in Australia, and another 4 internationally.
Yep.
And between everything we do, so we work with about 35 different corporate partners, as well as um, all of the advice community, as well as we're working with a bunch of other different partners, such as yourselves. So really just making sure that we have the time and the capacity to achieve all the initiatives that we're going to do. So as I mentioned, the All Licensee PD Day is by far one of the biggest successes and one of the most memorable things that we do each year, but it is also one of our most significant time drains in terms of getting everything organized and getting everything ready for that day. So that's probably the biggest challenge that we have is just in terms of prioritization. In a perfect world, if we had double, triple the amount of people, we'd be running the world by now, but we're not in that position, unfortunately.
Mm, mm. Have you had any like significant setbacks? And what's the what did you learn from any setbacks you've had?
I wouldn't say significant. Like it's nothing that's like broken the business or anything like that. But we have a mantra here, which is all about falling forwards, failing forwards.
Yep.
So just different things that we'll try that will work, won't work, and what we learn from those. And there's something that we say internally, which effectively there's a good mistake and there's a bad mistake. A good mistake is one that when you do something because you're trying something different and it could work, could not, and it doesn't quite go our way. That's a good mistake. We've had a crack at it. Didn't quite work out, but if anything, we've learned from that and we know we won't do that again. And then a bad mistake is just something that we know doesn't work already, but we've done it again. We've gone down that same path, but we had the exact same result. So we try for the good mistakes and to continually fail forwards. And yeah, as I said, haven't had anything majorly that's kept me up at night without sleep.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Is there any like industry challenges or anything you're kind of preparing for you see is going to be a challenge going forward?
Look, it's a challenge at the moment. It's something we're addressing currently. So advisors have to do 40 hours of continuous learning CPD points each year, as I'm sure you do have to do as accountants as well. And the process for that in the advice industry is tedious. You have to go to the event, get a PDF emailed to you, get that PDF uploaded to a system, input the details of that, and then somebody has to go in, check, confirm, and verify it. It's
Red
way
tape.
too long. Exactly. It's a lot of red tape. So that's something that we've seen. And we're actually going to be launching our own CPD platform, which is going to streamline that, where we will do
Okay.
the accreditation. We will do everything. So effectively, you would come to an Ensombl event. We mark your attendance down. You get the points. It doesn't need to be emailed to you. It doesn't need to be verified. It's done. So we're looking at trends there is just what can we do to get things to be more efficient, if you will. CPD is one that we definitely think is a major time burden for advisors, which is why we have the All Licensee PD Day where you can get 25% of your annual requirements in a day, which is why we're doing this because it's just taking time out of advisors' day to do things that they need to do, not that they want to be able to do to actually run their business.
Yeah, okay. Um, you mentioned collaborations, working with a lot of different organisations. Like us, have we been able to help you in any way?
1000%. You guys are awesome. That's why when I got the email from Garth and I saw the Collins SBA at the bottom, I'm like, I'll do whatever you guys need. So yeah, Pat's a legend.
Yeah.
As you're obviously aware, he hosts our Advice Tech podcast. So he caught up with me probably about a year ago now, I think it was, give or take, and was really keen to come on board. And he's done all the interviews. He's run that effectively independently. So it's something that he's been able to work with us and have a really good partnership so that he effectively has given time back to us in our day because it's something that we want to be able to do, but we don't have the technology expertise. So he's lent us his expertise and what he's doing within your business and what he's seeing and how the tech works and how that all the integration works and things like that. So him in terms of being the amazing host, organizing everything, doing when we reach out saying, can you highlight these things? He's really great, really responsive, awesome along those lines. And we recently had Jono on our Engine Room podcast with Roxy when he was actually down in Tassie. And that just comes back to the mantra that we have of driving the positive evolution of financial advice, where Jono talked around some things that you guys are doing, what's working, what's not working, so that others can hear that and learn from that. So you guys have really contributed to the community, both from Pat being the host of the podcast, which helps streamline advisors' technology decisions and their implementations, as well as Jono sharing what's happening in the practice itself.
Yep, that's great. Okay, Chris, I think you've got a couple of questions to ask now.
Yes. So talking about the wins and successes, what are you most proud of when you think about your organization's accomplishments?
Yeah, probably the biggest things that we're the most proud of is one, how much we've grown. And we now represent 1 in 3 advisors within Australia. When I first started, that was about 1 in 4, 1 in 5, give or take. So the sheer size of what we're doing is incredible. Big wins. Again, I'll come back to the all license EPD day. We did that originally not knowing if it was going to be good or bad. And now it's the single most attended day each year by advisors. And when we were talking to advisors around, we might make some changes to it, effectively, we got told, you better still run this because it is now a staple of the calendar. We've got our next one coming up in a couple of weeks. Jono's actually coming up from Tassie for it to be there in person. So that's going to be a cracking day. And then some other things, we've put together some incredible things with our partners over the years, such as videos, white papers, podcasts, and really seeing advisors share that within our community as well as on social media and listening to that and going, I just heard this. I hadn't thought of it that way. We're actually going to be making changes in our business and we're going to be doing X, Y, Z. And being able to see the impact we're having on financial advice in Australia and how we are driving that positive evolution has been incredible.
Oh, it's amazing. And is there anything that you can share, a recent win that has energized you or made you and your team excited?
I'll come back to the CPD platform that we're doing. We're actually launching it very soon. It's not necessarily a recent win, but all of our beta testing and all of our research that we've done before this goes to market has been nothing but positive. So that has all of us super excited about what the next 12, 24, 36 month at Ensombl look like, because we are going to be moving across into that area, which we previously haven't played. So it's really just looking at effectively stage 2, if you'd like, if you would, of the business and what's that's going to look like for us.
That probably flows into the next question as well that we've got for you about the big vision or dream for Ensombl for the next year.
Yeah, next year, 100% CPD platform. That's where we're going to be playing. We're going to be working with advisors, licensees, corporate partners, everyone just around how can we make your CPD accreditation, tracking, everything easier, cheaper, and less painless.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Are there
So
any...
Sorry,
you go. There you go, Mark.
I think we're going to split these last 3 up, aren't we? That's all right. Just with that, is there any projects, like you mentioned, working with Jono and Pat? Is there any thing in addition in the pipeline that you're exploring working with us?
No, there's nothing that we've formalized yet, but there are a couple of things that we are looking at. So a really good example is Pat's coming to the PD day when he's back in Australia. So he'll actually be hosting the Q&A of the technology session that we have on the day. So we're looking at potentially, could we do a technology panel at our next day that we have in May of next year? And could Pat be the moderator of that, if you would? We also have different events that we run called the Growth Collective, which is only about 10 practices that we bring in. We only did Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, which is why Jono wasn't included in the first round because we didn't go down to Tassie. But if that's something that you guys would be interested in coming on to next year, then definitely linking you guys in there. So it would really just be looking at how can we get different people from Collins SBA into the community, whether it be Pat or Jono. We also had somebody, I can't remember their name, unfortunately, contribute to a white paper that we published earlier this year. So in terms of the initiative project that we're going to be exploring with you, effectively, I just reach out to Amanda and say, hey, we're doing this. Is this something that you are able to be interested in? And generally speaking, she'll come back saying yes, yes, yes. So that will continue into 2025. Anytime we have something that we think would be interesting or would be good or would be that advisors are going to be able to leverage, then we'll definitely be giving you guys a show if it works, obviously, in terms of timings, expertise, and things like that.
And for our last question, if there were no limitations, what would you like to achieve for Ensombl and its future?
In the future, all right. So we'd have the CPD platform up and running. The next thing we'd want to do is effectively be the go-to place for new entrants within the industry. So you have, say, a 22-year-old finishing university that wants to be an advisor come to Ensombl, and we'd have something set up that would effectively get them accredited and get them ready to be an advisor within the real world. We'd want to expand on the PD day, turn that into a conference, make it be bigger, better, and we want to keep getting advisors and partners coming across. The biggest thing probably is looking at what are the problems advisors are facing, and we want to solve them all. That's the biggest thing. That's our mantra that we will always come back to. So we would just be looking at, if we had no limitations and I have unlimited staff, what are the different ways that we can create the solutions to those problems, and what can we do to actually make that engaging so that it is something that isn't just like reading a textbook, but it's something that's going to be engaging, helpful, and really ingrain ourselves within the advice industry and continually help advisors run better businesses and provide better advice. Excuse me.
Thank you very much for your time today, Darin.
All good.
Is there anything else that you'd like to cover off on? Any other points that you can think of?
About everything, guys. I just want to say thanks very much to Collins SBA. Obviously, Pat's been an amazing host of the podcast. Amanda's always been incredible to work with. Every time I send her an email, the energy I get back is sensational. And yeah, we loved having Jono on the podcast. Love seeing all your social media, sharing our podcasts and things like that. So yeah, we really value the partnership and look forward to evolving it further into 2025. Whenever there's an opportunity on our side, we'll definitely let you know.
No worries at all. Thank you once again very much for your time.
Oh, good, guys. Thanks so much. I'm so sorry I'm late still. Sorry.
So I just did the same thing a couple of weeks ago. I had to download. I was running late for a meeting, so don't worry.
I was literally sitting there and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm looking at it like, I hope this isn't a long download. And I saw the little bar moving like so slow. And I'm like, kill me. That's not good. Awesome. Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.